Very good morning, children. Today, in this class, we will be talking about a new topic, talking about arguments for democracy. In my last class, I explained to you how there are demerits of democracy. But let me tell you, as compared to the demerits, there are more merits in the functioning of the democratic setup. As a result of which we find that democratic country or democratic setup is the best form of government. To move further, let me give you an example. I will be quoting the example of China and India. In the year 1958 to 1961, all these Asian countries faced a situation of famine. Famine basically means where there was acute shortage of water along with food grains. In both these countries, they were Bhutan, Pakistan, etc. But I will not be discussing it. To make you a clear explanation that how democratic setup is the best way, I will be quoting you an example. China is a communist country. Communist country means that whatever the laws are made, they are made by the own leaders. Common people involvement is very less in China in the year 1958 to 1961. As compared to India, where the democratic setup was established in the year 1947 after independence, you know very well. As a result of which, we find that in China, because of the communist government, because of the corrupt leaders, they could not face the famine situation. They could not handle the famine situation in a very correct manner. As a result of which, there was loss of thousands of people, killing of thousands of people during this particular regime. But as compared to India, since there was democratic setup, we find that the Indian government was quite successful by the elected leaders to take proper care of this particular calamity and to distribute the food grains and to go to the problems of the local people, to the common people. There was a democratic setup. The government played a very important role. Wherever the money allocation was there, wherever the resources were less, the government was so eager to help the common people so that the resources could reach to these needy people. As a result of which, as compared to China, we find India was quite successful in tackling this particular situation in a nice manner, where the death toll of Indian people or Indian masses was quite less as compared to China. The only reason behind it, because it had a democratic form of government. With this particular example, I will be moving further with the features which are accommodating or which are suitable for the democratic setup. Or the question might come, arguments for the democracy. There will be basically 6 major points into it. Before that, I would like to request everyone that after listening to my video, please move ahead to go further to the NCERT book for proper understanding and explanation. I will be giving you various 6 points. Please note them down. The first point related to the argument for democracy is that the democracy is the best form of government, because it is accountable to the people. Right now, I gave you an example that as compared to China, in India, there was less amount of death toll during the calamity in the year 1958 to 1961. Here, all the leaders who were chosen, they were chosen for the betterment of the people. irrespective of their self-interest. They all together, cumulative, they all work together to face this particular situation. As compared to China, which is basically a non-democratic country where the leaders who were there, especially the communist leaders who were not chosen by election, they came in power by their own army rule. These communist people thought and was concerned only about their own self, about their own family members as well as their party leaders. They were not bothered about the general public. So, the first explanation is that democratic setup is that setup which take care about the needs and aspirations of the people. And if they do not work according to the expectations of the people, they know that in the next election, they will not be again in power. The people, the ordinary people will not work, will not give them vote, and since they will not give them vote, they will not attain the situation or the status of a ruling government. The second point to this is that the democratic setup always work with the consultation and discussion of the various leaders. Children, by now you know that there are various bills, various sessions which are there in the parliament throughout the year in our government which take care of the decision. These decisions are not taken by one political party. They are taken by different political party. Responsible leaders take active part into it. There are several times opposition leaders also, those who also represent their viewpoints regarding that particular bill. As a result of which we find that there is no rash decision which is taken in the democratic form of government. But in a other form of government, maybe a dictator form of government or a monarchy form of government, several times we have seen that in a night the laws are being made and it is formulated in that society. Anybody who raise their voice are being suppressed. Because in this kind of government, the democratic government, we can raise our voice as compared to a dictatorial form of government where we cannot raise our voice. If we raise our voice, we are being humiliated, suppressed, and at several times, the people who raise their voice are being killed by the party. The fifth important point which is included in a democratic setup which favors the democratic form of government is that in a democratic form of government there is political equality and respect for rights. Children, we find here that whenever there is political equality means that in our country, if somebody is rich, somebody is poor, somebody belongs to high caste, though caste is not there, high class, somebody belongs to low caste, everybody has been given allotted political equality. You know by now with the feature which enhances this particular point, democracy represents one value, one vote and one right. As a result of which we find that each people who are casting their vote in the universal elect franchise, irrespective of their caste, class, religion, etc., has been provided with one vote which they cast during the election day. The next point which favors the political party or the government of democratic setup is that democracy provides a method to deal with the differences. Children, since your beginning you have read that our country has unity in diversity. We have different religion, different languages, different eating methods, different way of dressing, different languages, which makes our country that we have differences in large amount in our country. Irrespective of these differences, we have one unity, and that unity lies in the country. that is our India, our Bharat, which stands united irrespective of various differences. Talking about these differences, we find that the democratic setup in our country gives equality. It gives the equality to everyone irrespective of the major differences. It gives all the political rights to everyone so that nobody feels alienated. The majority as well as the minority, when it comes in the terms of numbers, majority or the minority, or in terms of religion, we find that all people share equal and proportionate amount of political equality. As a result of which, we find that democratic setup is being the most suitable form of government in our country, which has a large population along with long diversities. The last but not the least, we find that democratic setup is that setup which is the best form of government. It allows us to rectify our own mistakes. Who are the people who can rectify their mistakes? If the common people have by mistake chosen the government which are not working according to the expectations, needs of the people, we find that there is always a chance to rectify our own mistake. The common people will never give vote to such government who are not working for the betterment of the people, who are not concerned about the welfare of the people. As a result of which, they will get a fair chance in the next elections after 5 years, so that they can again cast their valuable vote. When they will cast their valuable vote, definitely they will not give to that form of government which has not worked for the betterment of the people. This point is devoid in the democratic and non-democratic as well as monarchical form of government. In it, we find that whosoever comes in power, whether that is a dictator or whether it is a king, whatever they say, people have to blindly follow them. And if by chance they do have the courage to raise their voice, we find that at times they are publicly humiliated. They are publicly, when they go against the decision making of the ruling government, they are being killed in front of the common people, so that the rest of the people also learn a lesson that they should also not raise a voice against the communist or the non-democratic setup. Their result will also be the same as to that person who had raised his voice against the government. These are all the 6 points which elaborates that these are the arguments which states that democracy is the best form of government. This talking about, telling us about, we are equating with our previous studies where we have learned that how democracy is elected by the common people, where we choose, there we have different political parties. Whosoever is working for the welfare or is framing the policies for the welfare of the people, they come in power. And when they come in power, they have full 5 years to show their interest for the people. And if they do not work in the interest of the people, we find that the people are dissatisfied with the functioning of such government. The leaders also know that if they do not work according to the expectations of the government, of the people, the ordinary people, if they will not listen to the problem or to the miseries of these innocent people, especially the poor people, they will not come in the next election. As a result of which, each political party, just to be in power, number 1, if they are in power, to be in the stable power, and number 2, if they are not in power, to be in power in the next election. We find that they try to do their best for the welfare, because it is ultimately the common people who are the it is the common people who are playing as a barometer for the democratic setup. I hope I'm quite clear with my explanation. Thank you very much.